get into our weekly update with the running. As you know, last week I ran the Little Miami, the halfway to the holidays marathon, and that turned out to be a half marathon. So I've been struggling a lot with inner right leg pain, and even though the hamstring was the thing that presented itself on Saturday last week, what's really becoming apparent to me is that my right leg stabilizer muscles and stuff, and I've known this for a while, they're just not where they need to be. So this next training block it's gonna be kind of weird. It's gonna be a strange training block because I'm gonna try to focus more on recovery and reducing my mileage. Listen, I know that hip and strengthening and legs and all this stuff is important, but I've been trying to use the mileage to build that strength. So like this last training block, I built in a lot of like hill type runs to strengthen my legs. Whether it worked or not, I don't know. I'm fairly convinced that a lot of my troubles that I had at the halfway to the holidays marathon was related to the drive, and that's what's got me a little worried about this upcoming 10K, this Little Miami 10K, which I have the little thing up here. What has me concerned is that drive is 5.5 hours. Luckily, it's a 10K, so I'll have a really good chance to assess this. But I'm also going to be trying to go, I'm going to try to PR the 10K. I've never run a 10K, so I have 10K Strava stats, but I've never run an official 10K before. So that'll be fun to attempt. But what I've been looking at with my training is this week has been really weird in the sense that I want to get started on the Marine Corps Marathon, but I'm not ready to go to the Marine Corps Marathon yet. I have to get this 10K out of the way. So I'm kind of rethinking whether or not it was a good idea to schedule these two races back to back. And I'll be honest, the thing that has me the most concerned about this upcoming race is the trip down, and how I'll feel when I get to the end of that, because I am still dealing with a lot of tightness in my right leg. So I don't think it'll be a problem. I think I can swing. I know I can run the 6 miles and get the box checked. It'd be nice to hit. My goal time is anything under 54. I'd kind of like to hit 52. But with this 10K coming down the road, it's kind of hindered my ability to focus on recovery. I want to give myself like 2 weeks of recovery, maybe more. But what you're going to see in this next training block for me personally is, as I lead into, I think I have just over 80 days after this 10K is done to start building for the Marine Corps Marathon in October. I'm actually going to do something that might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but I'm going to be backing off my mileage. I'm going to be slowing down on the mileage. So last Saturday I did 13 and a half at the marathon. That went wrong. Did 0 on Sunday. And then I started really researching like what's the best way for me to attack this problem that I currently have, which is in my right leg. And so I'm building a training plan to focus on that. And hopefully that'll be beneficial to, it seems like every week I get down here and I go, I ran this many miles, it's going to look a little bit different this next training block. And I think that's probably for the best. I've already started it, but I'm really going to be working in multiple days of just light leg strength training, hip mobility, stretching, things I don't typically do, but I think I definitely need to start working those things in. And I really got into, so as I was researching this, I found this website, and it's an app as well, called Final Surge. And I'm really loving this app, because it allows me to build a training plan and like for a whole week, which you could do probably in anything. But it also has like a really robust like tracking system for pain and how you're feeling. And I really like that aspect because I went back and I looked up how my first marathon went, and I was surprised to find that what I remember just in passing about my first marathon is not what I wrote. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh, in my mind, I remembered having quad pain at my first marathon, but I didn't. I had hamstring problems. So that means I had the same problem at my first marathon that I had at my third, and that allows me to say, hey, I'm not having a different problem each time, I'm having the same problem each time. And the fact that it happened sooner makes me think that it was less about electrolytes and more about leg strengthening. Like, I've been trying to get the nutrition right. I don't think it's a nutritional thing. I think it's more I don't have the longevity in my stabilizers, and I think I might have a form issue as well that I'm working on. But all that to say, I really dug into finding a way to attack this, and this Final Surge app, it kind of seems like it's designed for a coach to build a plan for somebody who they're coaching, and then they pull up the app and they can follow that plan. I'm using both sides of it. I'm using the desktop to build the training plan. Now, I will say this is not something you're going to want if you want a quick and easy, like give me a 60-day running plan and it just makes it. It's not that. I'm getting very specific and detailed. I'm writing the whole plan myself. And so when I put that in there, I'm able then to go in and strategize for the week, target those things, and then track how I'm feeling as a result. Now, you can probably do that in any app. I just like the way it looks, and I can really have a lot of room to put notes in. And I love the process of selecting a body part and giving a rating 1 to 10 on how sore it is and how it felt, that kind of thing. But so I built that training, week 1 of that training plan, which I just called it recovery week for the Marine Corps Marathon and the little Miami 10K. So this week, what I've been focused on more than mileage is really recovery. And on Monday, I did mobility and elliptical. And the elliptical, I'm working back into my training plan because when I first started running last year in January, well, I guess I really started in March. I came off of an extended period of just elliptical training because my treadmill had gone bad the winter of, let me try and get my years right. I think it was the winter at the end of 2024. My treadmill started acting up, and I was like, oh, onto the treadmill. So that's kind of how I handled it. So I really wanted to get elliptical back in there, and I wanted to get leg strengthening and mobility in. So Monday I did mobility and elliptical. Tuesday I did 2 easy miles, and it felt great. And I will tell you, Monday when I did the mobility training, where it was just stretching and putting your legs in weird positions and stuff, I was in a lot of pain. I was like, whoa, like there's a lot of weakness that I really have neglected for the last, like, this whole time I've been running. I don't really make stretching a priority. That's on me. I know it, and now I'm suffering the consequences of it. But I'm going to learn from it and build from it. But I was in a lot of pain on Monday going through those stretches. However, when I went to do my Tuesday run, I felt great, and I was like, oh, so I could noticeably feel better, like from day to day. And then what happened on Wednesday was kind of funny. I go out and I ran 4.5 easy miles. And the idea in that particular training was at the very end to see if I could hit my marathon pace, which is like 9:30. I was really sore. I did it, but I was in a lot of pain afterwards. And I'm like walking home from my run thinking, man, I don't think 2 back-to-back runs was a really good idea. And I went back to evaluate my training plan and go like, why did I schedule 2 back-to-back runs? It should have gone in my head, like as I'm walking home before I really began to evaluate it, I was like, it should have gone hip mobility, felt great, ran the 2 easy, hip mobility, run the 4, hopefully feel great. But instead I went like hip mobility, strength, like a recovery day, and then run. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And I get home and I realized that I had opened my app at work to see what my workout was for the day. And I was on Thursday instead of Wednesday. And so I actually did the opposite of what I was supposed to do and learned what was obvious to me, which was, you need to get this training block is going to have like a day off, a run, a day off, a run. I'm really only planning to run like 3 days a week, 3 or 4 days a week with a long run at the end to really capture that mileage and make sure that I'm not losing anything cardio wise. But so then Thursday I went and did my light strength training and elliptical again because I missed up my days. And boy, was I sore. I was like, it hurt a lot. And then Friday I had to do the same thing. I did elliptical and stretching. And my right leg, man, when I do some of these stretches and these just easy, like side planks and things like that, man, there's pain and weakness in there that's just like, it's like you wouldn't think based on those exercises that I could even walk a marathon, let alone run one. So I'm just finding a lot of things. But one thing I wanted to share about the Final Surge app that kind of surprised me as something that I really do enjoy is after I made the mistake of mixing up my workouts, I realized one of the reasons I did that is because I'm like, I'm jumping from day to day. I'm looking at the app. I'm pulling up. So I'm not a mobility person. I don't know. I'm not good with anatomy. I can run. I don't know. Like when I get honestly overwhelmed and irritated when it's like I think one of the stretches I had to do this week was called like a piriformis glute stretch. And I'm like, but like all of the stretches were like that. So it's not like I had 4 stretches that I know how to do and then one that I'd never heard of. So I'm like, I'm on YouTube looking it up, and then I'm back to doing the stretch. I'm like, am I doing it right? Like, I hate that whole process. And so like when I'm doing my workout, I like to have music playing in my earbuds. I like to have the workout open, and I like to have a timer on my watch. It's a lot of things going around. And what I don't like to do is I don't like to have to pull up the workout, jump to YouTube, switch to the timer on my watch, and then open up my music again because I watched the YouTube video. Like it starts to get to be a lot of like I just want to do the workout, right? And I know initially when I'm learning these stretches that's just going to be a learning curve, and I'm sort of in my mind I'm going, okay, look it up, you'll remember what it is for next time. Fine. But what I realized was every day this app is emailing my workout for the day. And normally I would just delete that, like treat it as spam. In fact, I had so many emails from them, what I thought was just like spam emails, but it was my training being sent to me. And I was like, oh, that's like super helpful. So like I printed it up, and it removed one thing that I had to do on the phone. And it really made the last workout that I did a lot better because I was able to just have the workout in front of me, YouTube search, and go back to my music and use my phone for only like one thing. But man, we are just so dependent on our phones anymore. It's so crazy. But basically, when I look at this week of training, I'm coming up on a 10K. I basically put for my takeaway, I'm really loving the Final Surge app and the website, which gives you really good snapshot of what's happening day to day. Right now, I'm feeling about 75% for this 10K. I'd like to PR at around 52. Now, when I say PR, this is technically my first 10K, official 10K. I've done 10Ks before, but all of my 10Ks that I've run have been part of, like they've been a segment in a half marathon or a marathon. So my fastest recorded 10K, like on Strava, was part of my fastest half marathon. And what I know is early on, I'm always trying to pace myself in these longer runs. So I know that there's more to be gained there, and I just haven't gotten to it. And I would like to, in this race, do that, but I would also really like to finish. So I think my fastest 10K recorded on Strava is like 54:30, somewhere in there. So I put in my notes that I'd like to PR at around 52 minutes, but a lot's going to be determined when I get out of the car after 5 hours of driving and see how tight I am. That's really going to be the defining factor for me when I get to the actual location to run the race. But just a heads up, all the training is going to look a lot different in the coming months. This weekly breakdown is not going to be about how many miles I ran each day. It's going to be more about how am I figuring out how to get stronger in certain areas, and how am I healing my leg and these pains, and is it working, is it not working? So in a way, that's going to be good for you as the viewer, because you're not just going to get me ripping off a list of how many miles I ran. You're going to get a lot more than that. So
No quit, building their wall. While they talk about us, educated, experienced, still not credible. So we embraced it. Now we're uncredible.